Our meeting is being live streamed, making more money in less time. Senior KH coming to you live. Last video of 2025. Last video of 2025. After this, there will be no more. After this video, there will be no more. I'll leave the last two videos up. Excuse me. Yesterday's video was I don't see it on my wall. Oh, does your belief system match where your life is going? It may not sound as though it may not be a deep question or a deep topic, but it is extremely relevant as we transition into 2025. We'll do a quick review of that conversation, transition into today's conversation, and close it out for the year 2024. November the 30th will be the last day that I'll be on Facebook. I may shut it down as soon as November 30th hit, or I may wait till after that day. But that'll be the last day, nonetheless. So those that's watching this that are going to be a part of the grant writing class starting December the 2nd, get it funded, 2025 access granted. You need to make sure that you look at the inboxes, watch the videos, look at the payment structures, and reach out to me ASAP. I'm gonna put this in the comment section of this video. Those who are interested. Grant writing class. As soon as you can. I'll be giving some update comments in the comment section. We'll do a review of yesterday's conversation. Then we'll transition into a scenario that we introduced yesterday and go into some content. The content that I'm going to use today is from one of my Facebook friends in Canada. His name is Peter Nugent. I believe that's how you pronounce his name. You spell his first name Peter, last name Nugent. I may be mispronouncing it. I apologize, Peter, if I am. You spell his last name Nguyen. Content that I'm going to be speaking from and teaching from is systematic wealth creation. The content that I'm going to be speaking and teaching from is not anything that I haven't worked out in my professional life. We will never, ever, 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 ever give you theory. We will never, ever, 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 ever give you fantasy. We will only give you what we've proven to be true. It was tried and tested We experience the outcome, and it's a lifestyle that we live. We teach what we live, and we live what we teach. Got it? Let's go. Anytime you get any thoughts, questions, or feedback, feel free to throw those 3 items in the comment section. If you feel as though you want to share, please share. We're going to touch on a couple of these thoughts. This will be about an hour. Get your popcorn ready. I'm going to make some statements. They may be ouchy moments, but it's important. I want to give first statement as a review of yesterday's conversation, and it's more like a class that I'm giving y'all to assist in your identification and your maximizing of your full potential. Yesterday's class was centered around a question of the day. And the question of the day was, does your belief system match where you are going? It's in direct connection to New Year's resolutions. Statement number one as a review, we cannot afford to go into 2025 with a quotation marks New Year's resolution without addressing our current or present belief systems. We cannot afford to jump into 2025 and give New Year's resolutions without addressing our present or current belief systems. Why? Because it's our belief systems that are the determining factors, or it's my belief system that is the determining factor that influences if I can achieve these New Year's resolutions. Because in the ideal sense, I don't have New Year's resolutions, but let's just say I'm speaking as I'm another person. I want my New Year's resolutions to transform into a lifestyle. I want to have a New Year's resolution for 3 months. And then I revert back to a previous pattern of behavior. That's not good. That's not beneficial for us. We have to address our belief systems. Let me go into, and this is this thought. So only 3 thoughts as a review. We can have, quotation marks again, new goals with the same beliefs. I keep emphasizing the quotation marks because the quotation marks, when I'm expressing it, means that it's not real. We can have new goals because we speak them. They may be goals that we never thought before, so we consider them as new. But we can have the same beliefs. And what that really translates into, what that really is hypocrisy. I'm saying I'm gonna go right, but then my belief systems that's ingrained in me say I always go left. So I'm gonna say in faith, I'm going right, but my belief system, my autopilot, my ingrained GPS, the mechanism, the belief system, the behavior patterns that resides inside of me, it's going to push me to go left when I'm saying I'm going right. Even the scripture says, faith without works is dead. Faith without no application in the direction that I have declared, proclaimed, and said and told you, it has no life to it. It has entirely no life. All right, let's see. And then lastly, let me see. It was one other thought I wanted to share as a review. Oh, yeah. Instead of a New Year's resolution, how about a new you resolution? Instead of a New Year's resolution, how about a new you resolution? Because if it's a new me, then everything that I involved in, every person I associate myself with, it's going to be different because I'm going to see myself from in a different perspective. I will give my famous quote to you real quick, and it's something we're going to start. We're going to build off this statement when we start our youth night back at our church, which is looking at, excuse me, February. This is the famous monumental statement that I was given many years ago. It reads this: a new year without a new year. Scratch that. I apologize. A new year without a new you is the same year with a different number. There is no new year without a new you. And I remember when I got that statement, it was around 20, I think it was around 2019. It was around 2019. And I remember one of my friends saying new beginnings because the new year had transpired. And the first thought that I came to my mind as I pondered was, there is no new year without a new you. Of course, I didn't say that to that person, but I thought there is no new year without a new you. A new year without a new you is the same year with a different number. I'm saying that we got to address our belief systems, especially as we getting ready to go into this making a leverage versus labor, making more time and making more money in less time. We have to really focus and concentrate on what we believe. If you take an inventory of your life right now, if you do an inventory check with tangibles, stuff that you can physically touch and see, and intangibles, personality, character traits, you will find out what you really believe. If a person believes that they are supposed to be rich and prosperous financially, you can look at your bank account and determine if that is really something that you believe. You can look at that. You can have a visual, of that. If you believe that you are a nice person, you can use other people's viewpoint and perception about you. And the most accurate viewpoint is going to be from the Lord. And if we honest, we can identify if what we believe is really what we believe by what's there and what's not there. Well, it's a time, this should always be an ongoing process. But if we want to really emphasize it as the new year approaches, it's really time to have a seat, as my brother and friend John Lucas would say, have several seats and take some quiet time and self-reflect on what your year looked like. What were the ups and downs? What was the triumphs? What was the victories? What was the struggles? What kept coming up for you? That's an honest inventory control. And once we conduct an honest inventory control, evaluation, and assessment, we'll discover what beliefs, what thoughts, what belief systems that we need to give, what we need to rid ourselves of for us to go into the next phase of our lives in all areas, spiritually, mentally, physically, socially, financially, emotionally. That is I have no idea why my phone keep going on. It should be on silent. But in any event, that is our introduction and review to making more money in less time. And make sure that this is off out of respect for y'all. Oh, yeah, I see why. We're about to go in. We're about to go in. Let's see where we are. Let's see if I got anybody. Yeah, got one comment, which is from me. If you are interested in learning how to make more money in less time, type time in the comment section as you watch this. You're interested in learning. That should really be everybody. If you are interested in learning how to make more money in less time, you can type the word. I'm going to share with you why that should be everybody. I like this mode that we in. It's beautiful because we're going to rev it up in a second. I'm going to tell you why this should be everybody. Because time is the most valuable asset that we have. Once time is gone, that moment that we experienced, that moment that we had together, that moment that we lost, we can never get the exact same moment again. In our American Western culture, we invest a lot of time working in terms of labor. We invest a great amount of time in laboring. And it's many factors that I'm not going to discuss in this video. Maybe if we did a class and we can do it in a more, intimate setting, I would share. But I'll tell you, there are many factors that influence us and push us to laboring. That belief system, that lifestyle snatches us away from the most intimate times that we should be sharing with our friends, family, associates, loved ones, even with yourself. But this mini class of sorts, I pray that it will help you, us, somebody who watching, if they catch just a tidbit, a snapshot, a soundbite of what I'm gonna share. Prayerfully, it'll inspire you to go in a direction to free your time from your money. Let's go into this. I am ready. If you're watching this, type, I'm ready too. This is the scenario that we used yesterday. This scenario was written by one of my former mentors, and she was also one of my Facebook friends, Miss Renee Perry, who at the time was a business consultant. We started off yesterday before we went into the core of beliefs. What's a belief system? How belief systems form, how belief systems can benefit us, how belief systems can take us off track or deter us or keep us stuck. We touched on misconceptions. A bonus word that I want to give you for today, in addition to misconceptions, is preconceptions. Pre meaning before, miss meaning to make a mistake, not hit the aim, target, or goal. I'm gonna review this scenario because it's so relevant into some of the content I'm gonna share today out of Peter's book, Systematic Wealth Creation. It's a hand in glove. Let us read. Some of us don't know why we're stuck. Why? We haven't thought about it. Life is so busy. It's so many responsibilities. We haven't taken the time to sit down, rest, meditate, and self-reflect. Why am I stuck? Some of us don't know that we're stuck because we haven't been exposed to anything outside of Stucksville. We haven't been exposed and soaked up an environment outside the environment that we're accustomed and comfortable with. Also, too, because we have an inaccurate definition of a word. Please type the word definition. We have an inaccurate definition of a word, a term, idea, and or experience. When I'm saying definition, I'm not saying it literally in the context of if I asked you what the word meeting was, then you gave me your definition verbally. I'm speaking now today definition in terms of your nonverbal. You got it? Because we define a word, a term, a phrase, an idea, or experience by our actions and our behavior. We have an inaccurate definition of a word, term, idea, or experience. When something is when something is not defined accurately in this depth of today's lesson, it means that my actions and behavior is not reflective of what the true meaning of that word, idea, or concept, or experience is really supposed to be. This is what we call a misconception. Misconceptions are views or opinions that are incorrect because they're based on faulty thinking or understanding. Now, what does the word faulty mean? As you can see, we're breaking down words because the misunderstanding of a word equates to the misappropriation of that word, the misappropriation and association with the understanding of what that word is implying or conveying. This is real. This is a real conversation, y'all. I want to give you faulty. I'm gonna look at the etymology of the word faulty. Uh-oh. My students that may be watching this is how we use technology in a productive way. Etymology of the word faulty. containing false error or defects. Straightforward. So misconceptions are views or opinions that are incorrect because they are based on, we can use the word deficiencies, but let's stay with errors or defects. It's based on error. To get unstuck, we must redefine words, terms, and experience for accuracy. Redefinition suggests an action or process of defining something again or differently. Type this word for me. Type this word. This is a critical part of this class. Type this word for me. Type this word for me. Work. 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 Capital WORK. Work. I'm gonna give you this example. Work. Work for us to get the most accurate definition, verbally and non-verbally, of this term work, we have to put this term in the context of 2024, not 1980. Because work has evolved since we first got exposed to the word. Work has evolved since 1980. Work, the definition of work in this context, in this setting, in this class, for us to make more money in less time, for us to free up the time to share with our loved ones, to do things that we want to do and do things that we like to do and do things that we need to do. Work has to transform from something that we do to something that we produce. If I have the definition of work only as something that I do or a place that I go to, my money and my time will be connected. The goal is to disconnect the amount of time that you spend or invest into work. We're trying to minimize that. The redefinition that gives us a pathway to minimize that is work being something that you produce. Work being a noun and no longer a verb. Work can be a noun and something that you produce. It can also be a noun and a place that you go to. It can be a verb and something that you do. But we're trying to, and the objective of this conversation and this class is to put word, I'm sorry, not word, but work in the context, in the expression of something that we produce, something that we create. Let's go. Vámonos. Renee Perry writes, we are given a whole set of beliefs when we are little. My addition to that is subconsciously and consciously, knowingly and unknowingly, via environment, unknowingly, knowingly, and intentional conversations that people involve us in. What is right and what is wrong, what we should do, what needs to be done. However, is there a belief you are hanging on to for dear life that just isn't working for you anymore? You got to ask yourself, is it true? What's the facts? This is an honest evaluation and assessment connected to making more money in less time. If you find yourself laboring, if you find yourself coming home every night or 4 out of 5 nights tired, that's not normal. It's not normal. It can be normal if you are using the previous environment that you were raised in and use that as a model to compare where your life is now. If that was a norm for you when you were little, if that was a norm for you when you found yourself in a household with your parents, it may be a norm for you now. The thing is that technology has advanced so much that we have more options available to us now than we did in 1985, 83, 1990, 2000. So for me to you, that's not a norm. That's not a norm. But it has to be a individual, honest, intimate assessment based on where my life is going. And this is why it's important for us, young people, teenagers, and us 20-year-olds, 30-year-olds, 40, 50, is indicative. I won't use the word indicative. I apologize. It is essential. It is imperative. It is important for us to have long-term goals. If we don't have long-term goals, if we don't have a dream inside of us that we desire for it to manifest into reality, we won't know if what we are doing and what we are thinking in our belief system is inaccurate because there's nothing to compare it to. She says, such as one of my old beliefs, you must work hard to make a lot of money. The realization came to me that this belief is unsustainable. Everyone around her always confirmed this belief, probably verbally or non-verbally, probably intentionally or unintentionally. Until one day she said, I made a decision. Think before you do. I made a decision. I decided to reassess it for truth, only to realize that there were people around me who didn't work hard and who made a lot of money. I no longer hang on to this belief. I've had to learn how to make money without working 18-hour days. And there are many ways to do that, but not without first changing your belief in your mind. Don't be afraid to question your belief. I want to highlight this last piece before we take a little break and go into the last part of this class or conversation. I want to highlight this sentence, but not without first changing your belief and changing your mind. But not without first changing your belief and changing your mind. Excuse me. Changing our beliefs and changing our minds is not something that is humanly possible. The only way that we can truly and authentically change our minds and change our beliefs is when we repent. The repent means the changing of the mind, which equates to the change of behavior, which is only accessible from my experience to you through Jesus Christ. Outside of this, all we can hope for is to modify our behavior. When we change, there is an exchange that occurs. So this is like how I think about. I'm gonna hold this pencil the best that I can. And this is what I need to think about it. When change occurs, I take what I think and I give it to God. And then in exchange for the thought or the mindset that I had, he gives me his mind. Anything else outside of that is behavior modification. Behavior modification means that My behavior modifies to the external stimuli or external environment. And living that type of life is very difficult because you can never truly be authentically who you are because you have to be on safety watch not to offend people. You can't ever just express who you are. We do modify our behavior to different environments because we have to be able to code switch because we communicate with various individuals from various cultural backgrounds. I'm saying that we don't do it to the extent that it compromises our integrity and who we are. I'm saying it's not the type of modification that compromises our integrity, our value system. But when we change for real, transform and repent, it's a flow. It's not rigid. It's not hard. It's not work. It's just a natural flow. I can relate to anybody in any environment outside of that example, changing our minds and our beliefs is going to connect to us assessing what we think for truth. And then once the illumination comes, the revelation comes, then we can submit that thought, that mindset to God, and He can give us a new mind in exchange for what we submitted to Him. And in most cases, I would tell you that once there's offense comes and resistance comes, saturated in emotion, that is the thought, the idea, the concept, the mindset, or belief that you need to give up in order to receive something new for you and us to walk in the newness of life and achieve these long-term goals that we have and the things that have been downloaded in our hearts. Let's see what we looking like. All right, we're gonna finish. We're gonna finish this out strong. We're gonna finish this out strong. All right, here we go. This is I've been waiting. I've really been itching to share this, but the timing, it wasn't the right timing because I had a couple people who was interested in learning how to make more money in less time. And they reached out. And I'm gonna send it directly to them so they can have it. And then if we want to do a little class with it, it'll probably have to be it'll probably have to be sometime and try to make this bigger. It's probably gonna have to be sometime in January, depending on how many people respond to the grant right class. So I made this a little bigger. I'm gonna type the word labor. Well, let's go leverage. What did I have on labor versus leverage? Keep this in mind. We teach what we live and we live what we teach. So we teaching what we live, we teaching what we do, and we once we experience, we come back, we share. So this is all in all. Let's get ready, man. This is listen to me. This is life-changing information because no disrespect, I say this respectfully. Most of our parents worked a 9 to 5. Most of our parents worked a traditional 9 to 5. Some of our parents went to school. Some of our parents got a degree. Most entrepreneurs are still operating in labor and not leverage. Most entrepreneurs still have a 9 to 5 mindset because their money, the money that they generate, the income that they generate, the income that they receive is directly tied to their labor. There's no disconnect. If we were to survey 10 entrepreneurs, I would tell you at least 70 to 80% of those entrepreneurs, no matter where they are primarily have the income that they generate connected to their labor, their work in a verb sense. They have to do the work to receive the compensation from the customer or client. Your service should transition and transform into a product that can provide value without you physically being present. Labor versus leverage. Again, this is from Systematic Wealth Creation. My Facebook friend, Peter Nugent, is the author. Yes, we all have to work to earn a living. Work in the terms of the verb sense. But they don't teach you, but what they don't teach us is that you can use your intelligence and creativity to create leverage situations. Intelligence. Let me stop this share. Intelligence, meaning intellectual property. There are many employees who overlook or devalue the intellectual property that they create for the employer. The employer is going to use that intellectual property to generate revenue to strengthen their brand. You are working behind the scenes. You are behind the curtain of a brand name that is utilizing your intellectual property to generate revenue, to strengthen the brand, to build a legacy to be passed to the kids, the kids of the owners and not yours. We overlook our intelligence. We overlook something that God gave us. Over this paper, so I'm gonna keep making this little noise. All right. Woo! I'm gonna read this again because it's just powerful. Yes, we all have to work to earn a living, but what they don't teach you, let's assume school system, public school system, they don't teach you is that you can use your intelligence and creativity to create leverage situations and opportunities and systems so you end up working less and less hours. This is a fact. It's a hard fact. It can be a sad fact, but it's a fact. Labor people are unlikely to get rich in this life because they are only using their time and their time is limited. Labor people labor people are unlikely to get rich in this lifetime because labor people are primarily using their time and their time is limited. Their work is connected to their time. And because time is limited, the amount of work that I can produce or the amount of work that I can do is limited. And if the amount of work that I can produce and do is limited, the amount of customers or clients that I can service is limited. And that means that I have a cap or a fixed income, or I place the ceiling on the amount of money that I can make or revenue that I can generate. This is a real conversation. It's about to get rough. What Dr. Miles Monroe say, sit up straight. Take this like a man. Labor people, including knowledge workers and executives, are trapped in a capitalistic system whose subtleties they do not understand. Labor versus leverage. In short, employees must, from their current labor status, they must become leverage people. Employees, from their current people status, must become leverage people. Employees, listen up. Employees, the the label of employee comes from an employee mentality. So employees who are labor people must transition into leverage people. How does that happen? You got to address your belief system. You got to address the belief system that you have that says that the more hours I work, the more money I make. You have to rid yourself of that belief system if you're going to make more money in less time. You have to rid yourself of that. That thought, if this is going to be, if this is going to be a part of who you are, if this is going to turn to a lifestyle, you have to nullify that belief. Leverage people understand capitalism and create their own systems in order to acquire and perpetually redefine their leverage points, which I'm going to give you some examples based out of the book. Thus, leverage people are making more and more money while working less. Leverage people, leverage people, leverage people are making more and more money by working less because right now in 2024, leverage people have digital products. You're watching this, type that. Leverage people have digital products that they put in a platform and they use the platform as a system of leverage. Leverage people have digitally packaged their talent, let me say it in order. Leverage people have digitally packaged their gift, their talent, their skill, their experience, their discipline. They have digitally packaged these items and placed the items on digital platforms or leverage points and distributed them into a boundaryless world. Leverage people have digitally packaged their gift, their talent, their skill, their experience, their discipline. They've offered it into a platform, which is a leverage point. And from that leverage point, they have distributed these 4 or 5 items into a boundaryless world because the internet, social media platforms make the world boundaryless. You can reach anybody in the world in 2024 if you have a digital product. A digital product has no physical presence, but it has digital influence. A digital product has no physical presence, but it has influence. It has influence and digital influence. These are heavy things to consider. But if we have the belief system of the more I work, the more I get paid, that belief system is going to be a deterrent. It's going to throw you off. Labor versus leverage, almost done. Please note that systems stand for Save yourself time, energy, and money. Companies use this system concept to create what Thomas Stewart, author of the book Intellectual Capital, here we go, as structural capital. Intellectual capital crystallized in the form of work methods, procedures, etc., belonging to a company. So what I'm saying to you based on what I just read to you is that products can be considered as work methods, procedures, processes, programs. Work does not have to have a physical presence. We're so accustomed to work having a physical presence, meaning that we have to either physically do it or we have to go to a traditional brick and mortar to work. But you do have work that has a physical presence. You have clothing, you have shoes, you have belts. You go to Walmart, you see work as a noun have physical presence on a physical shelf. But as you grow and as you deactivate that thought, deactivate the stronghold that's connected to that thought or belief system, that work has to have a physical presence. Work can remain in now, but it transforms into a digital product that's on a digital shelf that's called drumroll, Facebook, YouTube. You can go to someone's YouTube page and you can go shop for content that you want that can enhance your life or make you laugh or whatever your objective may be. You can go on a digital shelf and pick and choose what you want. And what does it cost you? What is the cost of going to somebody's digital store on a digital shelf and choosing content that is helping you achieve whatever objective that you're aiming for? What does it cost you? Attention, attention, attention. Attention is has been for a long time the new currency. It's not even new anymore. Attention is currency. As a teacher, when I'm in a classroom setting and students aren't paying attention, I tell them, pay attention, pay attention, pay attention, pay attention. I'm trying to get them to pay attention. I'm trying to get them to invest their attention in what I'm saying, because what I'm saying and what's coming from me, if they can receive it and apply it, integrate it, and transform it to a lifestyle, it'll change the outlook of their life. It'll give them the opportunity to create value and create value for others and teach others how to create value. But they have to pay attention. When you go on someone's YouTube, which is a digital store, and you choose a video, which is a digital product off their shelf, it costs you your time, and you pay for your time with your attention. You pay for time. You pay for the exchange of time with attention. The YouTubers specifically place a lot of time, effort, and innovation, ingenuity, and creativity in what they create, male or female. They capture time because it takes them one time and a process they go through. It takes them one time to download it to the platform. We come in as consumers, and we'll talk about that in these next couple of segments as we wrap up. As consumers, we come in and we use the time that we've been given, and we pay with the time. We pay with our attention for the time that we're using to look at their digital products. Who's winning? Who is winning? The creators or the consumers? The creators, because this is me being general. I'm willing to be wrong, but I'm gonna say this is my opinion. Most consumers are so absorbed with consuming that they're not producing. They may be working in a service aspect. They may be going to a physical place providing a service, and that's nice and cute. But most consumers aren't producing a product, whether it be digital or whether it be physical. Some some consumers will produce a physical product, but they haven't been illuminated and they haven't seen the value in what they create. So they'll create it for their own usage and not understand that they can be creating something for the usage of others. Heavy stuff. Heavy stuff. Thank you, God, for revelation. All right, we're gonna finish this out because we've been journeying together for a while. We're gonna hit a couple more cycles. I don't give you too much, but these things have to be contemplated, considered, and applied. Labor versus leverage, my people. It is not even possible for Oprah to be twice as smart as the average person, yet she is making 100 times more money. Remember, this is from 2016 too. The same can be said about most multimillionaires and billionaires. Leverage is the only thing accounting for the huge gap in net worth and income. I disagree with that. I understand that, but let's just say leverage is one of the components accounting for the huge gap of net worth and income. It is legitimately one, but it's not the only thing. So we'll finish this with these last two or three at the most. This the problem with labor. In a cubicle, you can't connect to people in the marketplace so you can strike win-win agreements that may have benefited you both. You're limited because in a cubicle, you can think of a cubicle in a literal sense, or you can think of a cubicle metaphorically where you go into the workplace and you are associating and socializing with these same people. Though they may be nice people, though they may be gifted people, though they may be skilled people, you're limited to these individuals because you normally go to your work in a brick and mortar physical sense every day. However, you can't enter into contracts with other coworkers in the same company. He says, although you could do so informally and it falls under office politics. Whatever labor, whatever leverage you find or create, the benefit accrues to the employer. You don't benefit from it. So why even try? Management doesn't encourage workers to find or create leverage. They only expect you to do your job, so you do your job. They set the expectation. Management doesn't train workers to see, find, or create leverage. Perhaps this is why productivity is low. He used the example of Canada. There is no training, incentive, or opportunity to create leverage, which would increase productivity. So let me see. I don't want to go too far into this, but I will close it off by, yeah, there's the YouTube example, my people. Let me see if there's anything else that I can give you connected to this. This is speaking about leverage matrix. And then these are, yeah, and I can go into that. It's Netflix. These are all different business models. So let's see. There's a lot of leverage systems that can be used. And yeah, I don't want to go into any more of this. So hopefully, prayerfully, this could help us. If I were to reflect on the takeaway statement, I would give, let's see, and if you get any feedback, questions, or comments, it was a lot that was said. I mean, literally a lot, but it was also a lot that was said in substance. But I want to use one piece as a closeout piece. Piece closeout piece. And then, because remember, this is the last video that I'm gonna do for the year, and not that I'm trying to make it long. But let's do this. Let's do this. Uh-oh. Let's close out with this creating versus consuming. Let me share my screen one more time. Summary. To make more money in less time, you have to make more money in less time, we have to come into the realization that we are creators by nature. To make more money or to generate more revenue in less time, we have to realize that we are creators by nature. We are creators. We were born as creators. What occurs is that when we are born into the world and we go into different educational systems, whether it be formal educational systems, public school system, or non-formal, we're taught by the nature of that system to pull away from being what we have been born to be as creators. And it's a slow creep to transition into workers. That creativity is zapped because our educational system is highly focused on information, the consumption, the comprehension of that information, and the production of the information in certain forms and certain methods that fit that system, which it meticulously zaps the creativity out of people because of overwhelming workloads. I'm not saying that the system was designed originally that way. I'm giving you insight as an educator that I'm perceiving how that creative reflex is deactivated. We live in a society that encourages consumption, not creation. Even in school, we are consuming information. We're not creating information. We are consuming information, and we're at times our students aren't really comprehending the information. Because when you comprehend the information, you can see how what I'm being taught right now connects to where my life is going. Students have the tendency, they comprehend some things as far as understanding. However, there's a overhaul of memorize or memorization. They get information, memorize it because it's serving the purpose of I'm getting ready to take this final exam. Not I'm getting ready to leave this building and transition into life in post-secondary education. So we have to intentionally share with them and teach them that you are consuming this information for the purpose and the objective of applying this information to whatever your post-secondary education pathway may be, or you may be transitioning into a career. This is how the information that I'm teaching you, and this is how the information that you're consuming can help you integrate and apply this into your post-secondary education or post your post high school career pathway that you're going into. Sharing again, excuse me. Thus, it is not surprising that most people do not have the creative reflex, but rather they have the shopping or consumer reflex. And then I'm gonna skip that point and go to the last point and say we read too much and don't create enough. This is my challenge for us. This is my quote unquote homework for us. I want you to really assess this, especially in the holidays coming into Thanksgiving and transition to Christmas, is when money touches your hand, what's your first thought? When any money, any amount touches your hand, what is your thought? Do you think first to consume it, meaning that I'm gonna go out and buy something for myself? Or do you look to invest it? Do you look creatively to invest it to produce more, or do you look to use it to help people? These are three things that we need to consider because if our first thought is to consume, if our first thought is to consume, then if our kids are growing up in this household, they're gonna transition to be consumers. This is why I continue to emphasize we are being taught consciously, unconsciously, or subconsciously. Sometimes we are being taught through conversation and a demonstration of the conversation. Sometimes we are being taught intentionally and unintentionally. We are really taught and impacted in the most influential way by the lifestyle that we see others live and the lifestyle and the upbringing that we find ourselves around. We learn the most and the easiest way through environments that we find ourselves in. This is why television and entertainment is so fluid because it's natural. It's culture being projected naturally. And because we find ourselves in a relaxed setting, we receive it and then we find ourselves modeling what we see. So that's the challenge. My challenge for you for the rest of 2024, going into 2025, be tap into the creator, the creative part of what you and what I and we have been born to be. Tap into the nature of being a creator. Once you work that creative muscle, once you look to be a solution to someone else's problem and start that process, those ideas are going to come. The ideas are already in you. It just takes us to be aware that we are creators by nature. If you are consuming, it should produce you to create something. And to me, to you, in my professional opinion, it should produce, you should be producing things that provide value without your physical presence. And this is how you learn and go into the process and lifestyle of making more money in less time. It's more to this. I don't have the ability to give all the details because it first starts with the mindset and a belief system. There's no cookie cutter way to do it. There's methods and formats that you can follow, but it's going to be different because the product that God placed in you, He didn't place in me. And the product that God placed in me, He didn't place in you. So it takes working with somebody. It could be myself or someone who had specializes and actually lives this type of lifestyle and understands the discipline and skill set to help us expedite that process. Happy Thanksgiving to you. Happy holidays to you and your house. May God bless you, protect you, keep you, and keep you journeying and progressing in the purpose, the destiny, and the design that He's created you to be. Happy holidays and Happy New Year to you all in advance. We will see you in 2025.